stretch now, if you look at the numbers, we're both, Steph and Rasheed are struggling to make shots. I mean, makes it tough to win a game at Texas A&M when they're not making shots.
It does make it tough.
Yeah, how tough, well, what's part of that? What do you think contributed?
No, I don't know. It's funny, I just met with a couple of them, and sometimes I use the example of Marshall. Marshall, it always comes back to Marshall, doesn't it? And sometimes people would ask, because he would take those crazy shots, and sometimes people would ask, man, how do his teammates deal with that? I mean, how do you deal with it? Because it was coming from a good place. I knew when Marshall, took those quick shots, it wasn't like, okay, I'm doing this because I want everybody to look at me and it's all about me. No, he was doing it because he thought that's what the team needed. I think sometimes with Moody or with Rasheed or with whomever, sometimes we venture out of doing what is in the best interest of us because we feel like we have to make a play. We feel like, something's slipping, and that's where it comes back to trust again, trusting the system. You cannot, in the game, the greatest players in the game, what makes them great is they take what the game gives them. They're forceful, they're assertive, but they cannot say, okay, this time down, I'm going to do this, because sometimes the game won't allow that. You have to be in the moment and take what the game allows you. And I think there are times in games where we don't handle adversity as well as we need to. And Texas A&M was one of those times. I thought we started off great, which is one of your biggest concerns. The game plan, A&M I knew was going to be very, very hungry and very, very desperate. This is a group that had lost 5 straight SEC games. Now 4 of those had been on the road. They were 13-1 at home. Only team that had beaten them was South Carolina, who went in there and shot 55% from 3, which was uncharacteristic. So I knew that we were going to have to play well, but I wanted to put some game pressure on them because of the magnitude of the game for them. And I thought we got off well. They made a run. We had opportunities in the second half, even though they were up 6, 8, 10 pretty quickly, to get that thing down where we could put some game pressure on them, and we were unable to do so because of our inability to make shots. And some of that was, I gave you a long answer, but some of that was based on the fact that we panicked a little bit, and we tried to do things that weren't there as it related to what the game was giving us.
Only 10 free throw attempts, out-rebounding the class by 14. Going into the game, it looked like there may be an advantage inside. What sort of happened there?
Yeah, that's a recipe for disaster for us. We're 14-1 when we win the battle of the boards. We're 15-1 when we win the battle or tie. Now, last time I checked, we only got 16 wins. So if we don't win the battle of the boards, we're in for trouble. We talked about it. Didn't do what was necessary. Texas A&M is long and they're athletic, and we did not commit to putting bodies on bodies early enough to give ourselves a chance to rebound the ball. Let's make no mistake as well, Cephas is not the same Cephas before he got hurt. Before he got hurt, he was getting us 13 and around 10. He was second in the SEC in rebounding. He's getting half of that right now. He's getting around 7 and 5. Is that unexpected? No. I mean, here's a guy. Sometimes I do have a tendency to exaggerate. You can ask my wife, but I understand that. That's part of the problem. When you acknowledge you have an issue, I mean, that's part of the road to recovery.
That's that point.
But I knew this kid didn't bounce a ball. He could not run or jump. He was supposed to sleep a certain way for 3 weeks in the middle of basketball season. He came back and got cleared on Monday. We gave him a little workout Tuesday. That's why I was so amazed at what he was able to do. It wasn't that his stat line jumped off the page at Florida, but I was amazed he was able to play in an SEC game that long. But I knew it was going to be about 7 to 10 days for him to get his legs and his rhythm and his cardio and his touch. And I may be being optimistic, but I know how much he wants it and how much he's willing to work. Well, yesterday was 10 days. I said, now it's time. I need you to get back to being Cephas. And he wants it. And I think, again, time is on his side, and hopefully he can make efforts towards that so that then, KG can get back in his role. Tomas has really accelerated. And then I need my 2 most experienced players, the guys that are most experienced in this program, Anthony Perez and Martavius Newby, to play like experienced players. That way, Moody doesn't feel like he has to do everything, which I think is causing some of his struggles.
You mentioned the magnitude of the game for Texas A&M, Andy. It was a magnitude game for you guys as well. With it being in the rearview mirror now, do your players, is it tough to get them motivated when they look at numbers and that sort of thing?
No. I mean, where was Alabama 2 weeks ago? They're in the tournament right now. You can say, well, they have more opportunities. Guys, where were the Ole Miss Rebels last year? I mean, I've been on both sides of this and in the middle. For us, the thing that I'm the most excited about is the fact that we are whole. Stephen Moody's dunking it pretty good, running pretty fast. I got Cephas back. I got to get Moody playing like the all-league player that he was. I got to get Rasheed Brooks, making some shots. Tomaski Allo's playing better than he ever has in an Ole Miss uniform. Dante and Marcamus Hyman are both playing better than they played in college. I like where we are. I wish we would have beaten Texas A&M, sure. But I know we've got 5 games that will tell the tale for us on what needs to happen in Bridgestone Arena. And that's where we are. We're just trying to find a way to win a game, find a way to get back to playing the way that we showed capable prior to some of this adversity that hit us. I'm honestly, and I'm going to tell the team this, I told a segment on just moments ago, that I'm proud that we are where we are based on everything that we went through. You take the 2 best players off anybody's team in the country, and and for the extended period of time that we did, I mean, Cephas did miss 7 games. Moody played, but he wasn't a shell of himself for about 4 or 5 games. Then they would be glad to be in the position that we're in, and yet they still can control their own destiny, and that's the approach we're taking.